Entertainah talking sports.
What is going on, football fans? Back at it with another New York Giants video. Before I get started on the video, just want to let everybody know I will be live tonight around 8:30. Haven't been able to do one of those Q&As for a while. Just been really busy. Wanted to do a one-on-one with the chat. Haven't done one of those in a while. So hopefully I see some of you guys there for that. But in this video, I kind of wanted to dive into the most popular player to talk about on a football team. That, of course, being the quarterback. And for the New York Giants, that, of course, is Daniel Jones. And to me, he is by far the most important player this season. We have to find out whether or not we are going to go forward with the quarterback that we drafted 6th overall out of Duke last year. And last year he showed promise and he showed some things he has to work on. And so far this year, doesn't look great. Matter of fact, he looks bad. I'm not going to tell you he has. And I'll get into some of the factors, as I've done many times, as to why that is. We'll start there. Of course, he had to learn a new scheme, new coaching staff, everything else. But people will point to Carolina. People will point in other areas. It is what it is. I always chalk the first 4 games up this year kind of to like a preseason. And to me, this is where the evaluation process starts for Daniel Jones and the rest of this football team. Now, am I disregarding the first 4 games? Absolutely not. But if he improves and gets a lot better, there is certainly reason to hope and think that he could be the quarterback going forward. But his job is on the line right now. If we're being honest with ourselves, if you look at the draft right now, Trevor Lawrence, by every expert known to man, is regarded as the best quarterback prospect to come out of college in a very long time. And when you have an opportunity to take a player like that, if you're picking 1st overall and you're going to have a new GM, the writing's on the wall. And right now, if the season were to end, the New York Giants would have the number 1 pick in the NFL draft, according to tiebreakers. Daniel Jones comes into this week. He's been backed up by his coach. I'll read the quote for you guys real quick. Joe Judge was asked about Daniel Jones and whether or not he feels that, whether or not they thought about potentially making a quarterback change. And some of my subscribers have brought that up. They brought up, should we bring in Colt McCoy? One, I definitely don't think Colt McCoy gives you a better chance to win. Colt McCoy, I think he has 5 wins and like 18 losses or 20 losses over the course of his career. It's not like the guy's been a good winning quarterback. He's a stable backup. Not to mention it's a year where obviously we have to evaluate not just Jones, but a lot of players on this football team. But Jones, of course, being the biggest one, whether or not they're, the guy going forward. And, these next 12 games is how we're going to go about doing that. But Joe Judge, when asked about it, said this. Look, if you're asking if Daniel is our quarterback, Daniel is our quarterback, Judge told reporters. That's who we're playing with. We support him. We have a lot of confidence in him. We have faith in him. Again, he's a young guy who's developing. We've seen a lot of progress from his day-to-day. Are there things he needs to correct and clean up? And can we do better job as coaches and staff to put him in the right situations? Absolutely. But in terms of the blanket statement, I don't know if there's ever a pinpoint in terms of what's the threshold for saying some guy is your guy for whatever. But Daniel is our quarterback. So Joe Judge, of course, backing up his quarterback. No surprise there. I mean, he's going to be the quarterback for the remainder of the season, unless, of course, he were to go down with an injury. I think that's the only way that you would see Colt McCoy. It wouldn't make any sense otherwise. But so far through 4 weeks, Daniel Jones has 2 touchdowns, 5 interceptions, and the Giants have not scored a touchdown in their last 2 contests. So it is certainly reason for concern. And the New York Giants have certainly had opportunities. That last drive at the end of the game, Daniel Jones made a horrible decision. Made some great plays to get him to that opportunity, but at the end of the day, 9 points is not going to cut it. And now the excuse is starting to slip away that it's a new scheme, because now you're 5 games into the season. I expect to at least see some progression. Now, granted, the New York Giants went up against some very good defenses the first 4 weeks of the year. The Steelers may be the best defense in football, and I actually thought that was Daniel Jones' best game. The Bears, of course, have a very good defense. The Rams have a good defense. They've gone up against some good defenses. I will say that. This is now the first week where there's no excuses. Now, going into this Dallas game, I'll say this. The New York Giants have no chance, at least in my opinion, to win this game if they go out with the mindset is we've got to air it out. And that's not even, it's not even that I don't think that the New York Giants can't put up points against this Dallas Cowboys defense. I think we're going to be able to put up some points. The defense has been that bad. Their defense has been as bad as our offense. But I just don't think we could keep up with that offense. You look at the weapons on that Dallas Cowboys team. 1, you have a much more experienced quarterback with Dak Prescott. 2, their third receiver is probably better than our best. And they've got Ezekiel Elliott against our running backs. I mean, it's not even close in terms of a personnel standpoint. So the New York Giants have to go into this game realizing that they can't get into a shootout if, in fact, they decide that they are actually going to try to win this game. If you get into a shootout, maybe Jones puts up gaudy stats, but you have no chance to win this contest. I think this game has to be played in the low to mid-20s, maybe 27, if the New York Giants have an opportunity to win it. If it reaches the 30s, it's lights out, because quite honestly, I just can't see the New York Giants keeping up with this team. As encouraged as I have have been with that defense, this Cowboys offense is on another level. And if the defense shows out this week and holds them to like 17 points, well, then I'll really believe that this defense is legit. And, not to mention that the defense has had some injuries. Jabril Peppers remains out. They put out a great effort last week, and hopefully we continue to see them grow off of that and get better. But the way the New York Giants are going to go out and win this football game is the same way they did it last week. They're going to need to be able to run block, get a push up front the way they did over the second half of that game when that offensive line really started to get things going in the run department. But we're obviously going to have to be able to cash in on our opportunities. Rather than 3, we're going to have to get 7. And that falls on Daniel Jones. Do I expect Jones to go out there and throw for 400 yards and 5 touchdowns? No, because I don't think that is the best game plan to try to win this game. But the fact of the matter is this: the Dallas Cowboys have surrendered 38 points or more their last 3 football games. This defense has been atrocious. There is no excuse for Daniel Jones to go out there and at least not have a solid football game and give the Giants an opportunity to win this game. If the Giants don't score at least 20, 24 points in this game, I start to really question this offense, Jones, Garrett, everything else. And I'm not saying it's a finished product. I still recognize we're early into the year with young players in new schemes. But the pressure is certainly on Daniel Jones. This is the soft part of the schedule. When you look at the New York Giants schedule at the beginning of the year, the first 4 games look pretty tough. Then those next 6 or 7 games, it's compressed with a lot of divisional matchups. We play the Eagles twice over this next stretch. We play the Washington football team once, and we play the Dallas Cowboys. So 5 of our division games, I think, are over the next 6 or 7 games. And that's probably our best opportunity this year to get wins, because if you look outside of the division, you got the Bucs, you got the Cardinals, you got the Browns, who look really good right now, you got the Seahawks, the Ravens, so on and so forth. So this is the New York Giants' best opportunity to start to accumulate wins. And at the end of the day, that's the way Daniel Jones is going to be able to keep his job. If we finish with the first pick, I'm telling you right now, as much as you want to keep Daniel Jones, there is a very high probability that we will be selecting a quarterback. So yes, I think the pressure is very high in this contest for Daniel Jones. Maybe they don't come out with a win, but Daniel Jones needs to start to show you that he's grasping the playbook and that he's starting to become a better quarterback in his second year than his first. Because right now, so far, to be quite honest with you, we just haven't seen it. 2 touchdowns, 5 interceptions. You're talking about a quarterback who's on pace to have 8 touchdowns and 20 picks over the course of the year. Needs to get a lot better. I expect him to come out there, have a very good effort this week against the Dallas Cowboys. This is a defense that has been shredded week after week after week, and there's really no excuses. As bad as this defense has been, I think the New York Giants have to come out with a run-first approach, and I expect Garrett to try to take some shots down the field while still trying to balance the clock. That has to be the game plan going in, but regardless, there are 0 excuses for Daniel Jones in this game to look even remotely like he did last week against the LA Rams. I'm not going to give him a pass this week. I want him to go out there. I want him to have a strong performance, and I don't want to settle for field goals every time we have an opportunity to cash it in. You go back, you look at the first game against the Steelers. We had the ball in the 2, couldn't get it in. Good quarterbacks find ways to put points on the board, and at this point, we need to start to at least see some hints that Daniel Jones could be a good quarterback by year's end. And I recognize there are a lot of excuses for Daniel Jones. And I'm the one who tries to point them out, because I don't think that Daniel Jones was put in the right spot. The offensive line isn't good. We don't have good weapons. It's a bad offense. But when you're going up against a defense like this, you have to be able to put some points up on the board. And hopefully Daniel Jones will get it done. And I think he will. I expect Daniel Jones to come out this week and have his best performance of the year. He's had 4 games now to grasp this playbook. He's going up against a weaker defense. He has to deliver the goods this week against the Dallas Cowboys. As always, guys, if you liked what you watched, please subscribe. Drop a comment. Maybe give me a little thumbs up. Cheers.